Good evening, everybody. Am I audible? Anybody can respond in chat box, please.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Received.
Thank you, Lakshmi Dasti. So I'm sharing my screen. Just once you're able to see the presentation, say yes in chat box, please.
Yes, sir. Present.
Thanks. So in our last class, we missed these 4 slides from our discussion. So we complete these 4 slides, then we'll jump into today's agenda. Okay. So in last class, we are talking about the safety in docks. So we have seen what are the different kinds of operations or activities will go in and around the docks. Then in that, we have seen loading, unloading, even passenger handling, ship maintenance and repairs, then storage of materials, transportation, waste management, security, administrative activities, and environmental management. Some trading will also happen here. Then we have seen uh, various hazards in docks as well. So slip, trip, fall of objects, heavy equipments and vehicle movement, crane and lifting hazards, confined space, drowning of the people and material, electrical hazards, chemical exposure, fire and explosion, noise and vibration, weather conditions, etc., etc. And we have seen what are the safety precautions to be considered against the hazards which we have seen in our previous slides. So we are at this point. So with respect to crane and lifting hazards, so we have to ensure proper training and also certification for the crane operators. So we have to only allow the authorized or the trained people to operate all these cranes. And also conduct the regular inspection and maintenance to the lifting equipments. So inspections, in the sense there are 2 types of inspections, internal and external inspections. The external inspection will be called as the calibration by the competent authority or competent person. And we have to use the taglines, or we can say a guide rope also, to control the swinging of the loads, especially for the lengthy objects when we are lifting. Even with the heavy winds also, there is a chance of swinging of the loads. So it gives an imbalance to the lifting equipment. So always we should have a tagline or guide rope to balance or to avoid the swinging of the loads. Then implement a proper load, securing the techniques and also rigging practices. So this is about how you are handling your objects by the lifting tackles and also the lifting plan. Then with respect to confined space, so in regarding the confined space, already we have discussed in our previous lectures. So when we say confined space, prior to that, we have to run a proper gas test. We have to take out all the contaminants from the confined space. Even the people which we are allowing them to work inside the confined space, they also must trained, and also they should well aware about what types of hazards will be present in the confined space in case of emergency. So how they can react to that situation. So here also again, follow up to confined space entry procedure. So definitely we'll have a procedure. We have to follow the procedure, including proper ventilation and monitoring. So we should provide continuous ventilation, like we'll give exhaust fan so that they can continuously get enough fresh air. Then use of gas detectors to test for the hazardous gases before entering the confined space to cross check is there any harmful things are there. So basically we do CO2, CO, LEL, and oxygen levels, etc. For this from these gas detectors. Then in the rescue procedure, so rescue procedure in the sense definitely will have attendant, confined space attendant, so where he can monitor the condition of the people who are working inside the confined space. So in case of any emergency, he can take the support of emergency rescue team and he can help the people which are trapped in the confined spaces. Then drowning hazards, so it will be happen because of any slippery surface or any unguarded or unsupported working platforms. So we have to install proper guardrails and also safety barriers and lifebuoys near the water edges and provide proper life jackets and also personal floating devices. Then implement water rescue protocols and also train personnel in the water safety. So it is also I mean, onshore emergencies, how we do mock drills. Same way, we have to train the people on rescuing in case of any drowning happens. Then electrical hazards. So again, regular inspection on electrical equipment for any damage and also wear and tear, and ensure proper grounding for the and also installation on electrical systems, and provide lockout and tagout procedure for maintenance activities involved in the electrical systems. So it is not only restricting with the electrical systems, this lockout and tagout, LOTO. This also can be done for mechanical activities as well. Then with respect to chemical hazards, so again, storage hazardous material in a designated area where we can avoid 90% of these chemical accidents, because most of the chemical accidents happen because of improper handling and storage. So improper handling in the sense not using proper suitable containers or not storing under the recommended temperatures by the manufacturers, and also incompatibility with the other chemicals. And provide MSDS, so safety data sheet or safety data sheet to ensure workers are trained in handling of hazardous substances. So sometimes what will happen, it will have a 16-page data if the hazards are more or with the based on the type of material. So we should able to create the visual or pictorial representation for this MSDS so that the people can easily understand. So how like we have NFPA labels. So there are simply they have NFPA labels. Same way we can make it this MSDS in a visual representation. It will be easy to recognize or understand the people. Then implement spill responses plans and have to have spill kits readily available. So it is also one of the a major activity, or we should have definitely have this response plan in case of spill happens. So what is in the following steps? So how you are going to contain? Do we have any spill absorbing media, or do we have any absorbing pads, or how you are going to control? Even for the chemical containers, do we have any secondary containment trays or the pallets, so that in case of immediate spill, so it can contain within the spill container instead of spreading on the floor or where near the vicinity. Then fire and explosions. So again, store flammable materials in designated fire resistant areas. Again, it is about the storage of materials. Some of the materials which are very sensitive at the ambient temperatures. So those should be stored in appropriate controlled environments. Then install fire detection and suppression systems in the key locations where we have storage of raw materials or any combustibles. There we have detection and suppression systems. Detection will be smoke detectors or flame detectors. Suppression will be sprinklers and fire hydrant systems. And again, we have to train the workers in
suppression system. Sir, suppression system, there may be used FM200 CO2 cylinder
yes,
and
yes, yes, cylinders
this
also.
other type of other
Yes.
type of home?
Yeah, yeah. When I say systems, they'll be broadly will cover sprinklers will be there. Even some of the electrical panels we have a CO2 flooding system also, and even fire extinguishers. All these are fall under suppression system only, which the infrastructure which you are using to extinguish the fire, all things will fall under this suppression system. Even we have modular type fire extinguishers, like it will be mounted on the, especially on the reactors. They'll have 15 kg capacity of ABC powder. Even we have recently the fireballs also, which are which are not so, popular. In the initial days, it went viral, all the fireballs, but in a practical way, it is not giving any impact, so it is not so prominent. Even fireballs also fall under the suppression systems. Yeah.
Yes, sir. It depends upon industry.
Yes,
Which
depends upon
type of
industry. Type of
Right.
industry, even the type of fire hazards you have, the type of manufacturing process you have, and the amount of fire load you have. It'll depends. But in a high level, when I say suppression system, immediately everybody gets into the mind sprinklers and the fire hydrant system. Then following that, we'll have fire extinguishers, etc. Then training to the workers on uses of fire extinguishers and emergency response procedures. So here, not only extinguishers, all the suppression systems, and also emergency response plan. In case of emergency, at what level I can or I should fight against the fire. There is in a different stages of fire, initial stage or incipient stage or heating stage or flame stages. So always it is preferable to fight at the incipient, which means it is small in size. We have to fight only in the small flames. If it is expended largely or it is extended largely, so alone you can't able to fight. In those situations, you have to come out there to preserve your life. And even escape also, it is very important. So you should well aware out escape routes based, where you are exactly working. So the escape routes are different from each workplace for the offices, warehouses, and also utility buildings, any storage locations, etc. So you should be well aware whenever you are entering into any facility or any building. You should understand where is the nearby emergency exit, so that because emergencies are they are not well communicated before, so it is an unexpected events, so we should be always ready to act. Then noise and vibration. So this also we have covered in our IS 102 sessions. So again, use engineering controls to such as noise barriers or enclosures to reduce the noise. So for this also we have seen the hierarchy. So we always try to avoid the generation of noise. If you are not able to avoid the generation, you have to cut down the path. If you are not able to eliminate the transmission, the path, then you have to have an engineering control, having some barriers. And there also, if you're not able to control, then you go with the PPs, either earplugs or earmuffs, sometimes combination of both. Then as an administrative control, we can give some trainings, we can put some safety signages saying that high noise area or loud area definitely have PPEs at this zone. And also we can have some job rotation for the operators to avoid the exposure. Then providing hearing protection and also rotate workers. This all will be covered. Then weather conditions. So monitor the weather forecast and also implement weather-related safety protocols. Especially, yes, we are almost entering into the summer from tomorrow, March and April, May. These 3 months will feel high temperatures, especially in the daytimes. Even in the Feb also, we have seen the high temperatures. So definitely we have to understand, and we try to avoid the people working under direct sun, especially in the mid noon, so that we can avoid the heat strokes. Then provide proper clothing and PPE to protect against the adverse weather conditions. Even in the manufacturing industries, they used to supply some cold water, even buttermilk, lemon juice, etc., etc., to make they are hydrated. And even we can give some rest breaks. So we can start very early in the mornings so that we can have 1 to 2 hours of rest time in the mid noon so that they can avoid exposure with the high temperatures. Then lifting and ergonomic hazards, this also we covered in 102. So ergonomics, basically it is about how you are designing your work to the people, not person to the work. So how easily you have designed work without putting any extra efforts by the operator or the worker who are performing an activity. Again, lifting. So lifting also we have covered in manual lifting and mechanical lifting. So lifting also we should give a proper training on manual material handling. So that we can avoid the injuries. Use mechanical lifting aids such as cranes or forklifts to minimize the manual lifting. So as we see now, the injuries will cause because of 80% of incidents caused by the unsafe actions and 18% by the unsafe conditions, 2% by the act of God. So wherever there is a more manpower is involved in our process, there is a more chance to unsafe actions resulting in injuries or accidents. So try to mechanize the process so that we can avoid the number of incidents. Then train the workers in proper lifting techniques and ergonomic practices. This already covered. Then security risk. So it is about implementing access controls. So same way like in industries where we do have the security checks before entering into the premises, and we have to restrict unauthorized personnel, then conduct security drills and also training to respond to the potential threats. So basically, people who are working in already in industries, they would have seen the chief security officer, they used to conduct the drills with the security team on do's and don'ts and also the security protocols. And fall from height. So again, installing of the guardrails and using safety nets and the personal fall protection systems where the people are working in elevated levels. And we have to provide again training on fall prevention with the proper use of fall protection equipment like safety belts and lifelines and the safety nets. Then struck and also caught hazards, stuck in between or caught in between. So mark designated pedestrians and walkways and vehicle routes. So this is very important, especially in the where we have bigger warehouses and also where we have a lot of vehicle movement in the facilities. So we have to segregate two different ways or two different pathways for the vehicle movement or truck movement and pedestrian movement, which means the people movement. Especially I have seen in automobile where we have frequent movement of forklifts for shifting of parts from one workstation to other workstation, where it is definitely required two ways, two pathways for equipments and the people. And use reflective clothing for the workers in high traffic areas. It is also very important, especially in the nights, in the and heavy construction projects where the work is progress on 24/7. Definitely, we need a high reflective jacket so that the truck drivers can able to recognize the people movement. And ensure equipment operators have clear visibility and also use of horns and also alarms. So this is also very important when you are taking the truck drivers or trucks in. The trucks are in good condition. It have equipped with all the lights and also flashing beacons, reverse alarm, etc., etc. And also the drivers also healthy enough, and their visibility should be in good condition. That's why we have a legal requirement. The crane drivers or truck drivers has to be examined, eye vision and also color blindness once in 6 months. Above 40 years of age, if it is above below 40, it is once in 12 months. Then biological hazards. So use of appropriate PPE such as gloves and masks when handling cargo and also waste materials. and implement pest control measures to minimize biological hazards, like especially rats or insecticides, any waste handling, garbage handling, then contaminants of body fluids in case of any injury happens. Sometimes the people will suddenly go and keep their hand to stop the blood. So there is a high risk of the biological hazards. So it is not supposed to be done. So you have to protect yourself, use the gloves before attempting for any first aid. Then we can save ourselves before treating the injured person. Okay. We are done with this PPT. Meanwhile, I'll jump into the today's topic. If you have any questions, you can ask. I'll take a moment to bring up my another presentation. Okay, so how many of you working in a foundry? Anybody is working from foundry? Any metal manufacturing or TMT bar? Anyone?
Sir, in my starting of my career, I have worked in steel plant.
Which steel plant, Srinivas?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
No, which steel plant? Vizag?
SR steel plant. Hazira.
Sir, steel plant. Okay, what they do?
Steel rolls they will manufacture.
Or they'll make TMT bars. I mean, where they use for
No,
construction.
not bars. Steel rolls.
Rolls in the sense, I mean, sheet metal or
Sheet metal type का है. Rolls ఉంటాయి కదండి. Vehicles కి manufacturing కి యూస్ చేసే rolls.
okay. That is fall under okay, sheet metal. Okay.
Yeah, sheet metal.
Okay.
Actually, I have worked in the raw material conversion to briquettes, hot direct reduced iron as well as hot briquetted iron.
Okay, and also got billets. Okay, billets they call. They'll make the solid blocks. Then
Yes,
further they will
briquettes.
melt it down and they will make it the sheets. Okay.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
That is a different process. Okay, good.
Yes.
Thanks.
Okay.
So this is also another topic from safety engineering 2, fall under IS 103, manufacturing of basic metals. So when we say metals, it will going through two different processes. One is hot process and cold process. So this cold process we have covered in 102, where we have seen hazards while operating machines, where we have sheet bending machine, drilling machine, then drilling machines. We have seen lathe machines, etc. That is fall under a cold process. And hot process in the sense, basically we'll do get the iron ore. From there we melt it. We'll make a metal or steel. From there again we shape it to. Again, we reheat it based on the manufacturing process or customer requirement. We will bring that into a different shapes. For example, as Srinivas mentioned, he's worked in sheet metal to do a manufacturing of vehicle body parts. Then there are TMT, where we use TMT bars for construction purposes. And there are foundries or forging units where they make the heavy engineering components. And there are foundries where they make castings. For example, you see a bigger casting in the sense it is a kind of wall outer body. When I say ball wall or any globe wall or any gate wall, will have a heavy outer section. Those are called as castings. There are different types of industries around this hot process. Okay, that is about context of this topic. So when we see, especially with hot process, basically these are melt the ore. So we have Vizag steel plant as an example to make the metal, and also they refine the metal. They create the molds based on the shape or size you want, and also based on the grades as well. There are different grades, and also they weld and cut the metal into part to make the tools, equipments, building materials, machine parts, structural parts. So from iron ore to, they'll make so many useful or applicable machines or parts in the following processes. As I explained, cold process, further they reduce the change or shape or size or section, hot rolled or forged or molded metal parts, cut into pieces, drill, bore, or grinding surfaces. They will press. So press in the sense, in the hot process, we'll make the sheet metal. In the press, there we make the body part of a car. So there they use the dice to press the sheet metal to take out the required shape of a metal sheet. And they do punching if at all they want to make a holes, and they will share and they will cut, they will do bend based on the customer requirements. So basically there are different types of furnaces: blast furnaces, arc furnaces. When I say electric arc furnaces, basically here we use electrical energy to heat up the metal or ore to convert into metal. I mean to liquefy the metal. For example, there is a big ice cube. So when I apply heat to that, so it will become a liquid. The same way, when I get in a metal scrap, so I'll applying heat through this graphite electrodes. So when the graphite electrodes are heating up to the certain temperatures, especially 1000 degrees, 1200, 1300. So the scrap metal will be converting from solid to a liquid. Even the blast furnaces where we use iron ore to the metal. These are heating furnaces where we use scrap to convert into liquids, and further it is processed to putting in the molds, and we will see in the further slides how basic foundry activities happens. And if you see in the right side image, so this is called as a ladle in the second part. So where we carry the molten metal from the furnace to pour in the molds. It is a kind of, I can say simple language, it is a bucket. So once we heat in the metal, we pour into this ladle. The ladle will be taken away from the melting process to the molding area, whatever the shape we want. Even if you remember in our childhood days, nowadays I am not able to see, I mean, more frequently, the people will come from the northern side. They will come and they will start heating up the aluminum bottles or the articles which we have, and they will convert into the god idols. The same process. Simply they are using in a roadside. Here also it is in a industry scale level, but the activities are same. So with respect to the classification of these furnaces based on the structure, we'll have melting or blasting furnaces. They basically use to make the metals from ores to remelt the metals for the obtaining desired properties, and the material processed in melting furnaces change their state of aggregation. So one is from ore to the metal, or sometimes if you see in this, here we call it as heating furnaces, where we can change their shape, especially in the villages where they use these kind of heating for shaping of their tools, agriculture tools. Then heating furnaces are employed to heat the metals for roasting limestone, manganese, and also refractories, or drying the foundry molds or ore, and also increasing the plasticity of the metals. And before the plastic works, and they are also used to heat the treatment of metals to change the metal structure, and material processed in heating furnaces remain same state of the aggregation. Here the state will change, but here the state will not change in the heating furnaces. Then with respect to heat generation, as I explained, again, these are basically depends on the principle of heat generation, how it is generating. Either they are fuel-fired furnaces where the heat is generated from the chemical energy of fuel, or electric furnaces where the heat is generated from the electric energy. So when I say fuel-fired, again, there are various categories. Diesel fired are there, or CNG fired are there. Even natural gas also used as a fuel to generate the heat. When I say electric, it is just an electric power where it is connected to the graphite electrodes to heat it up. It is just a kind of the water heater we'll have in our home. So what will happen? The water heater, it is uses the electric current. It's heat up the coil. So it is dipped into the water for time. So it's heating up the water. When I say in the fuel fired,
Welding also.
sorry,
Welding.
the welding is different.
It is also arc, no?
That is arc welding is different. Arc furnace is different. The application may be same. Here, there also you are heating the electrode and you are jointing two different metals. Here, arc furnace in the sense we used graphite electrodes to heat up the metal.
Okay.
There also you will melt the metal. It will get attached to the other metal. So here the
Sir,
jointing will not have. Yeah.
Sir, I have that is a little bit confusion regarding the furnace. I have worked in furnace oil also. For IC engine, we use furnace oil. So this furnace, that furnace,
No, furnace oil is different. Furnace is different.
that is crude oil of the
Yeah.
first generation of furnace oil, which is used in combustion engine, slow speed engine.
Yeah.
Huh.
Here it is a furnace where we use to manufacture a metal or to manufacture any specific parts of it. So here I use raw material as a iron ore. In other case, I use raw material as a metal scrap. एक गुजरी दुकान पे होता है ना पूरा जो सेकंड हैंड वाले मेटल स्क्रैप, ये पूरा लेके जाके हम लोग इससे नया आई मीन component
So
or machine part.
I'm confusing about the word furnace, which is used both. Here is also there is for.
Sir, I can explain, sir. Actually, ये steel में क्या है ना, electric arc will be directly in contact with the metal, and it
Yes.
will melt it. But oil furnaces जो बोल रहे हो sir, tubes में oil flow होता है, and firing will be done separately in the furnace.
Yeah.
Rapa sir.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
That's word I little bit both the words is same, but the system will be application is different both.
Yeah.
Okay. Please, sir, carry on.
Yeah. I'm just, I think my system is not reacting. Okay. So as I mentioned, two types of furnaces, the fuel driven and the electric driven. So basically these are two different fuels where we use to generate heat for melting the iron ore or the scrap metal. So as I mentioned, in the fuel source, we have different fuels we use. We use diesel, we use gas, we use CNG, and maybe other types of fuels to generate heat to melt the metals. If you say flame furnaces, where as Srinivas also intervene, and the shaft furnaces, the flame furnaces is a metal to be burnt occupies only a small portion of a reaction chamber volume, and the rest being occupied by the flame and also combustion products. So here it is a kind of bucket where we directly apply a heat. A jet flame will be applied on a product, it get melts. When I say shaft furnaces, these all the space is filled with the loose charge of materials, which includes lumpy solid fuel. It is a best example of a cement process where we use a coal, fine coal dust as a fuel, and completely filled with the clinker in a shaft, where the clinker is heated up by throwing this coal powder. It will get heated up the complete clinker. That is a shaft. Shaft in the sense it is a big length of cylindrical in shape. So in the one end to another end, the clinker will move. In other end, there we apply this coal dust, which is ignited. It's just kind of a dust explosion or a dust firing. We use coal as a material. In steel making furnaces, the chemical energy of molten metal is also converted into heat through the combustion of impurities present in them. Sometimes what will happen, the impurities which is there in the iron ore and also metal, it will creates any heat. The heat is evolved to eventually distributed over the whole mass of the molten metal. Okay, what will happen due to that impurities, apart from the heat which we are